How does somebody who describes themselves as, and I quote, the least disciplined person I know, accomplish something like running 50 miles? Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. Today I have the lovely Samo back on the podcast to talk about his 50-mile running experience. Now, what you need to know before you listen to Samo and I's full conversation is that Samo went out to run 100K. Now, 100K is 62.1 miles, and Samo has spent months training for this. He literally dropped out of school to be able to focus on running and ultra and training, and he'll talk about that in the podcast. What was so fascinating in particular about this conversation with Samo was hearing about all of the lessons that he didn't expect to learn when he initially set out to run this 100K. And now you'll hear me saying 100K, that's 62.1 miles, and then I'm saying that he ran 50. So he did not run the full 100K. It's quite fascinating to talk about how this process forced him to confront the idea of what happens when your identity becomes attached to an external goal. And so I really think that, on Pursuit the Pod, we talk about chasing after goals and achievements and we talk a lot about finding meaning and happiness and how you do that along the way. And I think this conversation is especially pertinent to if you enjoy ideas of going after goals, because if you have ever tied your self-worth to a goal or achievement, or even this version of yourself that you'll be when you achieve this, when you run the 100K, this conversation really shows you about how sometimes on your pursuits of one thing, you realize what is actually going to bring you fulfillment. We recorded this conversation a week before I ran my 50 miles, which was so exciting. My previous podcast talked about my lessons fresh off the press, if that's the phrase. The Monday after I ran my 50 miles, I recorded about mine. So if you want to hear about my experience right after, you can listen to the podcast right before this one. However, this one was awesome because I had been gathering a list of ideas to ask Samo about before I ran mine. And so, yeah, super great insights as always. So without further ado, my conversation with Samo reflecting on his 50 miles. So let's rewind it back for the people that didn't have the pleasure of hearing it from the beginning. So we were just getting into why you started the whole ultra journey and everything like that.
Right. So I was in sports. I got really excited about sports over the summer of 2025, and I started doing some more running, and I did my first triathlon, and I really got hooked on how hard can I push myself, and I ran my marathon on basically no training. I was running maybe 8 miles a week or something, and it was extremely painful.
This was Boulderthon, right?
No, this was the Boulder Res Marathon.
Oh, when was that? What?
That was 3 months before Boulderthon.
Okay.
And it was so painful. I was getting passed by 70-year-olds. Literally, it was the most humbling experience ever. It took me 6.5 hours to complete a marathon. This is just a road marathon. There was no trail or anything. And I was with a medic for the last 5 miles. I was pretty much, my body was in hyponatremia. I had no carbs. I took 500 calories with me, and I burned 4,000, and I was wrecked. It was brutal, and but there was something satisfying about crossing the finish line. I just went through hell, and I could do it, and there's so much emotion. I felt like, wow, I can't believe I endured that. I was kind of high, like, kind of had the runner's high, but then also that pain cave is a little bit addicting. There's
I was gonna
something about
say
it.
when we were talking just before, and you're like, why does anybody get into ultra not from like a toxic relationship with it? And I'm like, it's like that part that's pushing yourself and seeing how far it's really addicting. It's like when I finished my 30 miles, like my 50K, I felt like I still had more in me, and there's something about it that's like, how can I go until the point where I don't have anything more in me? And that's like it's like the question, like how far can my body actually go? How far can I go, even though it's painful?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
something about that. That's like that question.
Yeah, I think it's like it's kind of beautiful how just how hard we can sit there with everything, our emotions, our pain, our body, everything comes up, and we just keep taking one step in front of the other.
All you have to do is literally just tell yourself, can you take one more step?
Yeah.
Can you take one more step? And if the answer is yes, you just keep going.
One thing I love about Ultra too is, unlike road races, it's not, at the top level, it's hyper competitive and they run really fast. But if you're not at the top level, people don't really care about your times.
It's just if you finished it.
It's just like, can you run?
Except you have this thing about times. You always bring up pace. And you always talk about fixing, quote, fixing your 5K, your 10K, your marathon even. So tell me about this fixing word.
I guess that's another ego form, I guess. It's I guess as I've ran more, I have hold myself to a higher expectation, and when I see a time that disgusts me and I know I could do better, then I'm like, oh, I need to go fix that. But in order to fix it, you have to kind of plan the day, especially a longer run, like a 50K. You can't just wake up and expect to run a perfect 50K. You have to plan it in your week.
Perfect 50K. This idea of what the perfect. Who decides what that perfect is?
I guess I know my time in my 50K could be way faster, and my marathon could be way faster. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I will fix it in 2 weeks. No, 1 week. Yeah. I just signed up for a 50K.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the one
on
you
Saturday.
told me about?
Yeah.
Well, the one instead of June 6th,
yeah.
the other
it's still
one.
on June 6th. It's
okay.
just
50K.
Yeah. Yeah. Different location, easier terrain. I hope to win it.
The ego is so strong right now. I want to dive into it because you're so aware of it. What do you... Are you comparing yourself to yourself or to others? Let's start there.
Both.
Both. Is there a time where you will achieve and you will actually be happy, you think?
Happy with the timing result? Yeah. That depends on the time.
Is there a time,
Yes.
You just ran, okay, there are specific times.
Like my mile PR, I'm very happy with.
Yeah, you are. You are happy about your mile PRs.
Yeah.
I will say, when you hit those,
Yeah.
So what is kind of cool is that sometimes when people go and chase these sorts of things, it never feels like enough. Mm-hmm. Because the word enough is so... vague. But for you, for a mile, there is that time.
Yeah. Well, for any distance, there's a time
there's a
I'd
time
be
that
happy
you're happy
with.
with.
Yeah, but
Nebulous. That's the word I was looking for.
I think another thing is that like I'm very influenced by the ultra community, which is extremely positive, but it's gotten so competitive. Like what
You just said that people don't care about times, and now you're saying that you care about times.
if you like watching the ultra is funny because the really great runners are all competing at an extremely high level. They're running 100-mile weeks, sometimes 120, and they train together, and then they race against each other. And then they're running like 6:30 miles, like 6 or 7 minute miles for 100K or for 100 miles even. And
Okay, I think we're good. Okay. It was still on the other screen. I was like, are we not recording? It's like my fear.
I think we're good.
I think we're fine. Okay. They run 6 to 7
yeah.
miles against each other after training with each other.
Yeah, like the pros in the ultra world are very competitive, and I follow a lot of them on Strava, which
Yeah.
is the one social media that I have. I don't have any other social media because it's full of algorithm and
Full of Ozempic.
yeah, exactly. It's full of all that crap, and it's intended to drive engagement. Anyway, I think I get in my head. I'm not exactly sure why I get in my head about it because deep down it doesn't disgust me. Deep down, I'm like I am satisfied that I could only run 50 miles. And I couldn't have dreamed of that 2 years ago or ever. And so
I like how you say only 50 miles. It's just amazing.
well that's funny too because like Cocodona just happened and watching Rachel like run that and nearly like I think she set a course record. Yeah. And she sleeps for 17 minutes over the 57 hours of running half uphill. I'm in my head like, God, I am pathetic. And I'm complaining at 48 miles? Come on.
I will remember that in a week. It's good motivation. Oh my gosh, it's a week and a day away.
Yeah. You're going to kill it.
I'm going to join the 50-mile club. Anyways, keep going. I cut you off.
Yeah, I think like it's about moving the goalposts for my ego. It's like I was very proud of just like before I was just like running a marathon was a huge deal.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, I did an ultra marathon and it wasn't fast enough.
Right.
And it's like, oh, it wasn't far enough. And yeah, I mean, if I've learned anything, like, I'll never be able to satisfy my ego, ever. No matter how fast or rich or whatever I could get, it will find a problem that will bother me. And that is a life lesson. Like, it's important, and the ultra training and the running is a great metaphor for life.
Oh, there's so many metaphors in ultra
many.
running. I have a whole podcast. Right after I did my first official ultra, I sat in the car and I recorded that episode of everything I learned along the way.
Yeah. I love it. Like, something will go wrong. Like, your fueling will go wrong.
Yes, that is something I've experienced. It's not about if, it's about what's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
What are you going to learn about yourself that day, that run? Like anytime
Exactly.
that I run more than say 20 miles, like I always learn something about myself, either something that I needed to bring or some like a different way I needed to eat or whatever. Something different I needed to wear to be more like for some reason I went out on my ultra without a visor. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Or like I go out without wet wipes and I'm like, okay, never doing that again because we know how that ends. Like, and then also you learn about yourself mentally. Like a big thing I learned was like when I run, I stare at the ground and I'm in these beautiful places and I'm like, look up, like
Yeah.
look at life and look at everything around you. And that's what can happen in life too, is you're just so focused. You're so like have your head down, you're grinding,
Yeah.
and you got to look up and be like, wait, there's a lot of beauty. Like life is happening right now.
Yeah.
I still remember when I ran my first time when I ran 7 miles. I remember the exact route that I did. It was in Houston. I ran around my apartment complex until I hit 7 miles, and I'm like, oh my God, I just ran 7 miles. I remember the first time I ran 9 miles. The first time I ran 15 miles. The first time I ran 19 miles was at Boulder Res. I still remember all those and how happy I was. So
Yeah.
it's, yes, yeah, the goalpost definitely moves. Do you remember like the first times you ran, say a marathon, like
Yeah.
obviously a marathon because it's
Well,
more,
and before I wouldn't even do any races. I was just running.
right, same.
For fun.
Same.
And
See,
I was
I
like-
started all this just for fun.
Yeah.
I started all this just to be outside and sweat and get tan. And then somehow it turned into like
Yeah.
all this.
Totally. No, I'd go out. I'd like run 4 miles at like whatever 9-minute per mile pace, and like I don't even know what zone 2 was.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I probably was like at a 170 heart rate, but I loved it. It was just so fun. And then it turned into training, which was a different relationship.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I'll say
Yeah.
it was a very
Yeah, like when you're going out for a run, just not purely for the joy of running, but just because you know you need to get the volume in, or you're doing it for the grind.
Yeah, it really it doesn't it doesn't make it less beautiful or even less valuable or anything. It does though change the dynamic.
It makes it different.
Yeah,
It adds a layer of your relationship to running.
yeah, because it's like I need to do this rather than I get to do this. But I'm still grateful for. I loved all the training, and there were some runs where I was not motivated to go out, and I was like, but as soon as I got on the trail, I was so happy I was out there.
And it's a big thing. I always talk about luck surface area. And it's the surface area of just the volume at which you do something. Enough times you do it, like you cannot like it the first time. Like first time, second time, third time, fourth time. But like the fifth time you're out there and you're like, okay, this is why I keep doing this. You can go through spells of running where I like all of
Yeah,
like March and April were just rough. I don't know what was, it was just rough. And like a lot of runs I went on, I just felt not good. I felt slow and I felt not like buzzing with energy at 4 a.m. like how I felt January, February. But then like I went out for a run a couple weeks ago and it just finally felt good again. And I was like, finally. I'm
Yeah.
happy that I kept going through that time where it didn't feel good. And even sometimes in the same run, like you can start out in the first 3 miles, feel horrible.
yeah,
And then somehow you're at 6 miles and you're feeling great.
yeah.
And,
Well,
and a lot of people don't get to that part where it actually starts feeling good, either for the first time or feels good for a while. Okay, we're riding this high. Oh, we started running, like we started doing whatever exercise, and then we kind of dip, and then we think, oh, we said it like people get shocked at that dip, and so they stop doing whatever they're doing. But it's like if you can push through that part where it is a little bit of a grind, it always comes back up again.
yeah, no, absolutely, and that's like, it's the runner's high. I mean, it's so true. It's a drug, and I think it was maybe a comedian or some runner. He was like, in a marathon, you like go through hell and then you cross the finish line and you're in heaven. In an ultra marathon, you do that, but you go in and out and in and out.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yeah.
and I really did learn that because my first ultra marathon I did right after you ran 30 miles, the day after, and it was honestly not too bad. Like I took it pretty easy, and yeah, it was pretty close to a marathon. It's like I didn't experience those deep pain, deep joy, but the 50 miles, yeah, like I remember like mile 38, I was like, all right, can we make this end like right now? And then I had to eat a lot and stop. I remember one of the miles, I looked at the splits at the end. It took me 45 minutes. I don't know what I was doing for a 45-minute mile.
For 1 mile?
Yeah, I think I sat down, like, used the bathroom, like, ate, like, pad thai or something, and then was like, all right, let's go finish this thing.
Uh-huh.
But I wasn't concerned with my time, and I just wanted to see if I could run 100K. And the answer was I couldn't.
Walk me through that.
I mean, I set out to run 100K. My training was sort of based for that distance-ish. And that was the race I had signed up for in June. So I was like, that was a distance I wanted to do. And it was harder than I thought. I didn't think it would take me so long. I was definitely humbled by the distance. I didn't fuel very well. But I think the biggest thing was that I got what I needed out of it. Yeah.
Walk me through what made you sign up in the very first place, all the way to what you learned and what you got out of it in the end.
It's funny, my best friend teased me. He says the only reason I signed up for this was because my coach has never done an ultra and he's better than me at everything. And he's like, you just wanted to have your thing where he didn't do it. And I laugh at him. I don't think that's true, but it might be something along the lines of I really wanted to challenge myself, and the idea of ultra excited me because I'm not that good on the bike, and I'm not a great swimmer, so I was like, I don't want to do an Ironman at the moment, so let me just do an ultra marathon. And so the distance I chose was like, I was like, 100 miles seems way too hard and not a good first ultra marathon. But I chose 100K because I thought that seems like a distance I could train for and suffer through, and I would be satisfied doing it. Because the 50K is basically just a marathon with a few extra steps. Yeah. And initially I really staked a lot of my self-worth on like how I was going to perform in the specific race. But the journey of meeting people while running and learning to enjoy the training and how teaching myself how to fuel and when to rest, that was a big thing. Like with all the other stuff that I did in the summer, like doing a marathon with almost no training, or doing my first triathlon with really no training, my first half Ironman with very minimal training. I was just like, I could just wing it, but you can't really just wing 50 miles. Like you really have to learn stuff about yourself on the trail and how to fuel, what you need, what you don't need. And what I got out of it was community. I met wonderful people that gave me great advice about, how to approach things when things go wrong. I asked someone at Run Club, like, do your hips and knees hurt at 18 miles too? And he's like, yeah, I just go another 82 and I'm fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's just a pain tolerance thing, which really did help me, because I, the mind wants to just shut down and be like, we need to stop running. But the mind is ready to go way before the body is actually ready to go. And that's a really important lesson too. Like, it's so practical for life, because I am like the least disciplined person I know. I'm like, if lazy was a person, it would be me.
You wouldn't think that based on everything you've done.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm very... Yeah, I have an interesting relationship with discipline and not quitting things. And so part of Ultra for me was giving me a safe space where I could do something I loved and that was hard, but I could stay devoted to it. And I made sacrifices. I mean, I dropped out of school for the semester. I quit school on the second day of classes. I remember I was sitting there in my last class on the second day, and it was a gorgeous fall day out. I mean, a spring day. And because we had no winter here in Colorado. So it was like 60 in January. And I'm like, I think the trail's calling. What the hell am I doing sitting here? And I just like got up in the middle of English class and just left. And I didn't go back. and then I dropped the classes on my next trail run.
Seriously.
Yeah, I was like, screw this, I want to run. And yeah, I don't suggest that unless you have financial backing to be able to mess around for 6 months. Shout out to my mom.
That's so sweet.
But no, I really needed this era for me to learn how to stick with something, not quit when it gets hard. And I've also learned there's like two types of hard. There's like the just continuously training, like just the general life strain of the training. But then there's like the actual strain of the race, like the thing that really like like the test, like the final test, the actual accomplishment or the race. And there's such different types of hard, because the hard part about the training was waking up every day and sacrificing that time and planning and the fuel and everything. And the race, but the actual race, it took more planning specifically for that day, and obviously it's a lot harder and more taxing on the body, but without
more concentrated pain.
But it's a very different type of challenge. Both are beautiful and necessary. You need the little wins, the small 10-mile runs that stack up so that you can run 50 miles at once, and you need the discipline to go 50 miles at once to get across that finish line. And they're so different. And I was much better about just having pain tolerance, but not having the discipline. But if you really want something that, like, to run 50 miles for me, you need to train. Like, you can't just go in and raw dog it like I did the marathon or anything else. And that, I'm still appreciating how those two work together in relationship with each other, about how to you can put words to this.
I think it's very much as though you're studying for you can relate it to school. You're studying all semester, and then it's the final day, it's the test day, and it's a different kind of hard because you have to lock in for those 2 hours and perform.
Yeah.
And you can't obviously wake up the day of and no, it's like everything you built before, but it's two different types of hard, right? Like,
yeah. And the test is way easier if you just show up to class. You don't have to study as much the night before, because if you actually show up to class, maybe you don't even have to study.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, I definitely appreciated the more I did train, I know I reduced the pain at those end miles, because if I didn't train, like if I was only running 20 miles a week.
Called out.
Then the pain would be extreme. Yeah, so and it also gave me an appreciation for the higher distances too. Like running 50 miles, I can't really imagine what mile 80 would look like in a 100-mile race. I think that would just be awful in every way. So it definitely gave me an appreciation for that. And I did but I was proud of myself for allowing myself to not finish. Honestly, what I got from it ultimately was that I don't need to run 100K to be Samo. That's exactly what I got from it, which is apparently a necessary lesson for me. Because time with people, helping someone, gave me way more satisfaction than that whole race. And I really thought that race would teach me a ton of stuff about myself and teach me all these things. And it did teach me some lessons, but if anything, it taught me to appreciate getting to be with people, getting to help someone. I get more satisfaction volunteering for an hour with the city, working with disabled folks, than I did finishing that ultra marathon. And I definitely did not expect that, because I put so much training and effort into that. And it made me a way less selfish person because of that. Because it realigned me with what I really care about and love, which is helping other people. And I don't have to dedicate so much time to myself to be truly satisfied. Because I can only get so much satisfaction from doing things for myself.
Did you only have those thoughts after all of this running? Like, was this completely not?
That was like a revelation from
that was
one.
completely
like
novel from all of this.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah.
In what other ways did you see that? What other examples in your life? How did you notice that pattern of, I feel a lot more fulfilled when I'm with other people, talking to other people, than this thing that I thought that was going to fulfill me?
Well, I think I just felt a little bit happier when I was volunteering, or a little bit more like myself when I was not just living for my goals, and when I could really help other people. Something in me, you could call it, the soul or whatever, just felt more connected to everything, everyone, to myself. So I felt happier. And I really thought the ultra was gonna teach me you can get through anything. You're so strong. All you need is your own grit. Mm-hmm. And it was honestly the opposite of that. You just need to help other people. And you can't just rely on your own grit, because at some point you're not gonna want to run the last half marathon. And I just decided I don't need to keep running at 50 miles because I'm satisfied with where it was, because I realized I'm more happy around other people and being with other people.
Where did you find the motivation to even get to 50 miles, whether that was internal or external?
I looked down at my watch at mile 43, and I was like, all right, I'll get to 50. I can definitely do that, no problem. My hips and knees were hurting pretty bad at mile 38, I'd say, but I was like, all right, I got less than a half marathon to go. So I kind of just put 50 as a benchmark because I knew it was the minimum I could run. And
What about I mean even during training? What gave you the motivation either within you or outside of you to keep training?
honestly, because a lot of it, at the beginning, because I was staking so much of my life on the race, I was taking it very seriously. And so much of my self-worth on the race that I didn't want to let myself down. So that part of it was a safety thing, because my self-worth and my identity was riding on it. Mm-hmm. And I formed an attachment to it.
To the identity of being somebody who could run 100K.
Yes, exactly, and push through it. And I couldn't be happier that I learned that that's not who I am, and that's not what I need.
You're just you,
I'm just little Samo that was okay at setting a boundary. It's funny that I had to put myself through 17 hours of pain to learn that it's okay to say stop to myself and just let go. And it really forced me to just let go and know that that was my limit, and I was okay with that. I'm proud of myself for allowing what needed to happen, and seeing that at the core, it really realigned me with what I actually want versus what I thought I wanted. There's this girl I like. Being with her for 10 seconds is means more than the 18 hours and the hundreds of hours I put into training for that whole ultra.
I find it scary to put happiness in being with another person, in any way, having it depend on someone outside of yourself. That's so
I agree with that.
scary. Now, I say scary, I say fear. I'm not saying necessarily to not do it, but I want to acknowledge that that's because it can be taken away. Because everybody in our life will leave us at some point.
Everything. Everything is impermanent.
Yes, that's very true.
Other than Brahman, the self.
And that's why. I mean, it's also there's also an element of control here, because when your happiness is entirely dependent on yourself, there's a feeling of control over it. When it's in another person, you can control it less, because they can leave your life in one way or another. Either if it's a relationship, they can break up with you, or the relationship just ends for one reason or another, or they die. At some point, everybody's gonna leave you in some way. And then where do you find your happiness? And that's what I think about. And so I think it's beautiful that people can bring so much happiness. And I mean, literally, physiologically, I mean, dopamine is just released when you're with another person. And that's the molecule of motivation, which keeps you seeking and makes you stay up all night, sleep 4 hours, go to work again, and then just want to come down and see another person. Like, it's that. But it's also just so scary to have happiness not just all be in your own hand. Love is a risk, and like there's no risk without reward. And I think being with people can magnify any situation and make anything you do just amazing because you're with that person. And then it also has this power to just wreck you, and like that extreme is tough to.
Yeah, I mean, there's something interesting about that like the more you have riding on something, the more beautiful and valuable it is.
And with that, that wraps up my conversation with Samo. We were the last ones in this tea house, so we needed to get out of there and let the workers go home for the night. But it was lovely to chat with Samo as always. And as I listened back to this conversation, one thing really became clear, and it was that this conversation was really not just about running. It started out with Samo's 50 miler and how he went out to run the 100K, but along the line, I loved hearing about what he was actually searching for when he was pushing himself to run the 100K. And the journey started off as a challenge to see how far he could run, if he could run the 100K. But along the way, he found that accomplishing that versus what really brings us fulfillment in life are two different things. And after all the hundreds of miles that he must have spent training and hours spent in training and the day of, the lesson was that he didn't need to prove to himself that he could do that, because the race itself, running ultra, that doesn't make him who he is. Finishing or not finishing the 100K didn't change his value as a person. And this conversation made me realize that the things that bring us the deepest meaning aren't the goals we achieve, but rather what we learn about ourselves along the way. What we learned actually creates purpose and meaning for us in our lives, whether that's accomplishing a goal, whether that's connection with people. I think that's why ultras and these kind of endurance sports are such a powerful metaphor for life, because you start out thinking, oh, the challenge in front of me is this 50 miler or this 100K, but really you understand that along that way, the real goal is to understand yourself to a deeper level than you ever had before. So, Samuel, thank you as always for having lovely chats with me. We have lovely chats all the time. We just happened to record this one. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll be sure to see you next week. Bye.